I'm not going to use the word battle because we're going to lose anyway if we're fighting against society. Hey brothers, what's going on? Today we're going to talk about sissy pornography. Yes, sissy pornography. This is a genre which is more common than you think it is, wherein men are emasculated, wherein men are wearing women's clothing, mostly lingerie, and engaging in sexual acts with other men. There's also a genre that is a close cousin to it, and that comes with it anyway, called sissy hypno, which is basically subliminal hypnotic messages which are sent accompanied by flashing images of women in sexual positions being dominated by men, and messages which basically tell you that you are not a man, emasculating you and making you feel that deep down inside you really want to be penetrated by a man and you want another man's dick in your mouth. And you would be surprised the number of men who are susceptible to this. Now, the only reason I'm talking about this type of pornography is because there was a transgender individual who just won a Pulitzer Prize. Pulitzer Prize being a literary prize that is bestowed upon those who have contributed noteworthy literary pieces, books, novels, and so on, that contribute towards American culture. And I think this is an apt prize for this transgender individual who basically is talking about how they became transgender thanks to pornography, how they realized that pornography helped them become a woman. It is apt because that is a direct reflection of American culture today, of messages like gender is a construct and that a man can identify as a woman and your children can choose their sexuality early in life. I'm going to talk a little bit later about the impact this is going to have on people. Man, I have some serious criticisms about our culture. I won't even get deep into it here. Today I'm going to talk about sissy pornography. I'm JK Amazy. I'm the founder of Elevated Recovery, and I'm the head coach at the Porn Reboot Coaching System. We help ambitious professional executives, business owners, and entrepreneurs end their out-of-control behavior with high-speed internet pornography discreetly. Now, sissy pornography, some of you might be like, wow, is this some niche thing that has been relegated to some obscure corner of pornography websites? While some of you would be like, thank God you're talking about this, dude, because I have so much shame around this. I am a straight man, I identify as straight, but for some reason, I watch this pornography, I watch sissy hypno videos, and I feel the urge to wear women's underwear and wear wigs and dress up and all this stuff. I want to make one thing very clear before we move forward. This is pornography induced. You cannot be feminized by pornography unless you allow yourself to be, unless you expose yourself to stimuli which leads you down that path. Sometimes there's some trauma that might have occurred in your past, and pornography can open you up to things like feminization due to that, due to some cultural confusion or something that happened to you as a child when you did not have the mental resources, the cognitive resources or experience to make sense of it. So I just want to acknowledge that. But this is something that you should handle with a therapist or a psychiatrist. A lot of the people out there who are pushing this message this individual is talking about, are individuals who had pornography as their main form of education. When pornography is your main form of education about sex, when pornography is something you use as a coping strategy, when it is soothing at a young age, when you can't talk to your mom or dad about how you feel, you're not sure about what toys you should play with, you're not sure about your gender, you're not sure about these things, a phase you're going through, and then you get exposed to pornography and things like sissy hypno, it is no wonder that you will go down a path of feminization or whatever else the agenda of the porn industry is. Anyway, this individual won this Pulitzer Prize for this piece of work. At first, I assumed it was trash, but as a professional, I decided to read some drafts so that I could get a clear understanding of what they were talking about. Long story short, in summary, this transgender individual who used to be a man and now says that they are a woman or whatever, they watch pornography. They got exposed to sissy pornography, and they truly believe that porn feminizes, that we live in a overly masculinized world where there are actually more transgender people, there are actually more men who are women than we know, like some big conspiracy, and that pornography just exposes these primal desires, right? Pornography exposes all of that. What the argument does not fails to mention is that for thousands of years, while there may have been individuals who were men who identified as women for cultural reasons, mental health reasons, or actually legitimate biological reasons, I'm not against that, I believe that as well, with some chromosomes crossed in a unique way, why is it that we have never had a civilization wherein there was a majority of individuals who identified as women? Why is there no civilization like that? I always bring it back to that. Why is it that we had to wait to the advent of something like high-speed internet pornography, right, which bombards us with stimuli that our biology is incapable of handling? You have seen more naked individuals having sex than every single one of your ancestors combined till date. Since we stood upright and started walking, you have seen more individuals fucking, right? So that the argument is already moot. But they won a Pulitzer Prize for exploring this and stating it as fact. Some people on the board went and looked at it and went like, this is a groundbreaking piece of literature. For the men who have been exposed to this, let me talk about how prevalent this is, if you've been exposed to it or if you're not even sure. There are many men, and I've worked with thousands of men, and we still get men every day. We get about 1,700 to maybe about 2,500 applications per month coming into elevated recovery. A good portion of them are men who are exposed to sissy pornography, are straight men who are addicted to viewing transgender pornography or to having sex with transgender individuals. The reason why, gentlemen, is very simple. You started off watching the vanilla stuff, and then after a while, that no longer could stimulate you, so you needed to watch more and more novel forms of pornography to release adrenaline and dopamine and other neurochemicals. I say other neurochemicals because pornography addiction is not a substance abuse addiction. It is a behavioral addiction or a process addiction, which means that you are looking for something in the process of your arousal. It could be that burst of adrenaline when you see men having sex with each other, and you know it's wrong to you, you know it's taboo, but it elicits a feeling. However, because you are already aroused when you experience that taboo feeling, that bad feeling, your brain melds those two together. You like being aroused. You do not like feeling shame, but you like being aroused more than you like feeling shame. And these things come together. Thus, you continue with the arousal, which takes precedence over the shame, and you orgasm to it. You are bound to the shame. This is why you continue to do it, and this is why as soon as the arousal is gone, as soon as you have orgasm to watching gay porn or transgender pornography or sissy pornography, what is left? Shame. But why is that shame deep? That shame is deep because under normal circumstances, you would never have allowed it to go that far. This individual in their book completely glossed over the reality of pornography addiction. They completely glossed over it. That is why you, who may be addicted to it or who may be watching it, that is the simple reason why you watch it. And yes, you can be free of it. You will slip and you will relapse. And as you go through that process, progress over perfection, not trying to be perfect, gentlemen. A lot of guys go like, I'm going to completely stay away from pornography and it's going to rewire my brain from my addiction to sissy pornography. Bro, that is unlikely to happen. Because all you're simply going to do when you stay away from porn or sex or any sort of sexual stimuli is you are going to end up repressing it. You must face it directly, and thankfully, you have the gift of slips. Yes, you do not want to engage in that behavior, but you have a compulsive behavior, so you are going to slip or relapse. Do not beat yourself over it. Do not feel emotional. Take it as an opportunity. I can slip, but in that moment where I have a little bit of awareness, I choose to slip to material. That is not transgender pornography. That is not sissy pornography. That is not something that is in line with my values. And yes, the feel and the quality of the orgasm will be less, but I will notice that I do not experience as much shame. And as a result, I will be able to make more rational decisions in the future because I am rebooting and I am paying attention to the data that I'm getting from the slips. You all know the movie Don John with, I forget his long name, Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Scarlett Johansson, about the porn addict. It's interesting because this individual in their book used that as a case study. But here's the crazy thing. This book won a Pulitzer Prize. His wow, right? His analysis of the book was that Joseph Gordon-Levitt, the porn addict, was actually a transgender individual and was so masculinized and repressed, with the slick back hair and working out and all that stuff, that he needed to hide and engage in this because deep down inside, every porn addict, the reason that they engage in that behavior compulsively is that they are seeking something subconsciously. And what they are seeking is a need to be feminized. That is this person's explanation of why a lot of men escalate to viewing transgender pornography. But here's the crazy thing. Not only that's their explanation. And on this channel, I talk about, hey, you need to stop viewing that. I rarely talk about the men who start thinking that they are actually a woman. About the men who start getting on hormones because sissy hypnopornography tells you to take hormones. It encourages you. And it does so when you are in one of the most vulnerable states. You cannot be hypnotized when you are fully conscious. You have to be in an altered state. And they get you when you are at the most altered state. The scary thing about all of this is that it won a Pulitzer Prize, which means that it is now mainstream, which means that people will agree with this and believe this. And scientists who are now taking a lot of transgender individuals who have mental health issues, those who have a history of trauma, those who are porn addicts, albeit porn addicts with PhD and masters and whatever, you're still a fucking porn addict. They will start taking these individuals' data and experience into account as they produce the next generation scientific literature about human sexuality. And I promise you, in there, they will talk about how a lot of men, your children, your boys and your girls are actually not the gender that they are. Gentlemen, there are a lot of changes coming. And within the next decade, I used to think it would take a long time. I was like, I'll be an old man before I see this. Within a decade, I have seen things that were once the weirdest shit on the internet become normalized. A lot of the men who 4 or 5 years ago were watching sissy hypno are now feeling like they are women. I will share, I won't share something. This is, let's just say I know an individual in my life that I did not see for many years, who actually, a straight man that I used to run game with, begin to transition. But we're no longer speaking, and I actually made a promise not to talk about it. We're not on speaking terms. I was about to cross a boundary there. So we're no longer friends, unfortunately. It's unfortunate, but the reason I mention that is because this is not an individual who I thought could go down that path. But he got hit with a lot of heavy things in his life, losing family members to divorce and a few other things. And what happens? This individual begins to transition. I don't care how strong you think you are. all right? You will be susceptible to this if you keep using pornography as a coping strategy. We live already in a society which is viewed to be very masculine. Even by other nation standards, the US is seen to be a very masculinized culture. Yet we are the ones that are leading the charge when it comes to things like feminization and changing gender and so on. There is a problem in this country. There's a problem with this culture. And I'm not here to save everybody. Neither am I even here to raise awareness. I can't save everybody. I actually think this society is doomed. I think that there are historical forces that cannot be changed. Like, this is just the way things go. This is the process. This is the decline. But not everybody has to go down with it. You can be smart. You can be savvy. You can save yourself. You can choose to be happy and not be a part of this goddamn madness, all right? And if you're one of those men, then you're the type of person that we want to talk to. You're the sort of person that we want to support. And we want to support you. We want to help you become the best expert at yourself, control your out-of-control behavior, and actually go out there yourself and begin to influence those in your community, those around you, right? There's some guys who are so ashamed to talk about this. Gentlemen, you better start talking about it. I have not met a man in my 11 years of coaching men to freedom from the out-of-control behavior with pornography who said, I spoke to friends about it and they shamed me. Not in the last few years. That has not happened. Most times guys will talk to another man about it and suddenly all the dudes start talking about how they have a problem with pornography. It is the pandemic, gentlemen. It is the pandemic. I'm not going to use the word battle because we're going to lose anyway if we're fighting against society. But for ourselves, we have a choice to win. If you are struggling with this, sissy pornography, sissy hypno, viewing transgender pornography, dressing like a woman, constantly and compulsively fantasizing about having sex with men, but you've never spoken about it to anybody, we are a safe place to deal with that. Yes, I present myself as a masculine man because I am, but at the end of the day, there's still a lot of compassion, right? Our company, our main company value is do everything with compassion. You put in your application, it is private, it is discreet, and it is stored in a secure server. No one is going to access it. I will burn this company to the ground before I reveal the information of a single client of mine. And that has somebody has tried to do that before. I was like, we're going to burn it all. We're going to delete the file. Everything's going to be burned. As soon as you leave our program, all your data is removed. Nobody is going to judge you when you get on a call with us. There is nothing you can say to me or any of my reboot strategists or my coaches that is going to surprise them. As a matter of fact, you might talk to them and they're like, yeah, bro, I overcame that myself, all right? So brothers, do not be afraid, all right? You do not have to join the program, but you can put in a call and at the very least just have a conversation about this and at least just let it out, okay? Let it out in a safe environment and be on your way, all right? So I'd love to know you guys' thoughts about this, okay? Let me know in the comment section below. I'm going to leave a link to that article, book, or whatever in the description. Check it out. Let me know your thoughts. I'm JK, your brother in this struggle. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this episode of Porn Reboot Coaching to Portia. I'll speak to you later on in the week.